Why does Elke Sommer still refuse to watch one particular episode of her career? To understand that, we must look back at the extraordinary life of the woman born Elke Schlitz on November 5, 1940, in Berlin, Germany. Her father, Baron Peter von Schlitz, was a Lutheran minister, and her mother, Renate Taub, was a warm and resilient woman whose strength became a guiding influence on Elke's life. Her early years were marked by the turbulence of World War II. In 1942, as Allied bombings devastated Berlin, her family, like many others, fled to the countryside. They resettled in Neundorf, a small village near Erlangen in Bavaria. This move not only saved them from the destruction of Berlin, but introduced young Elke to the quiet rhythms of rural life. Far removed from the bustling city. By 1950, Elke began attending gymnasium, Germany's rigorous university preparatory school. She excelled in languages and creative subjects, but struggled with math and science. Her natural gift for languages would later become an asset as she starred in films across Europe and the United States. The sudden death of her father when she was just 14 was a devastating blow that shaped her independence and sense of responsibility. Renate, her mother, became the central figure in her life, encouraging Elke to embrace her talents rather than be confined to traditional academics. In 1957, Elke left school at age 16 and embarked on a life-changing journey to London, where she worked as an au pair for the family of future actress Vicky Michelle. Away from home for the first time, Elke battled homesickness while attending language classes 3 times a week, an experience that gave her resilience and broadened her worldview. Elke's entry into acting soon followed, and by the late 1950s and early 1960s, she was emerging as one of Europe's most promising actresses. Between 1959 and 2005, she appeared in 99 film and television projects, with the 1960s marking her golden era. Her breakout roles included the prize 1963, where she held her own alongside Paul Newman and Edward G. Robinson, and A Shot in the Dark 1964, a beloved installment of the Pink Panther series with Peter Sellers. Her performances in The Art of Love 1965 with James Garner and Dick Van Dyke, the Oscar 1966, and Boy, Did I Get a Wrong Number 1966 opposite Bob Hope showcased her versatility. That same year she appeared in Deadlier Than the Male, an adventure thriller that would become one of her most significant yet personally troubling projects. By the mid-1960s, Elke was one of the most sought-after European actresses in Hollywood. She earned a Golden Globe in 1960 for Most Promising Newcomer for the prize, cementing her place as more than just a beautiful face. She was a serious talent. Beyond films, she became a staple on American television. Her charisma made her a favorite guest on The Dean Martin Show, where she showcased her comedic chops and singing abilities. Between 1971 and 1980, she frequently appeared on Bob Hope's specials and was a regular on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Audiences loved her warmth and sharp wit, and she became a recognizable figure and the popular game show Hollywood Squares. Her film career continued strongly through the 1970s, particularly in Europe. She starred in the wartime thriller Zeppelin 1971 alongside Michael York and made her mark in Italian horror cinema with Mario Bava's Baron Blood and Lisa and The Devil 1972. In Britain, she appeared in Carry On Behind 1975 as Professor Vushka, a role that earned her one of the highest salaries in the franchise's history. By the late 1970s, as Hollywood trends shifted to a younger generation of stars, Elke devoted more of her energy to European films and her other passion, painting. Her final major Hollywood project was the 1979 comedy remake The Prisoner of Zenda with Peter Sellers. In her personal life, Elke's marriages reflected different chapters of her journey. She married Hollywood columnist Joe Hyams in 1964. At 17 years her senior, Hyams was an established journalist with deep connections in the industry. Their Las Vegas wedding made headlines, but the pressures of Hollywood and differing lifestyles led to their eventual divorce. Afterward, Ella threw herself into her work and painting. Years later, she met Wolf Walter, the cosmopolitan managing director of New York's Essex House Hotel. Unlike her first marriage, her relationship with Wolf brought her balance and stability. They married on August 29, 1993, in Franconia, Germany, a meaningful nod to her Bavarian roots. By then, Eller had grown beyond the image of the glamorous 1960s starlet. She was a seasoned actress, an accomplished painter, and a woman who had endured both the highs and lows of fame. But why does Elke Sommer still refuse to watch Deadlier Than the Male, the 1967 spy thriller that remains one of her most famous films? Though the movie became a cult classic and introduced her to wider international audiences, Eller has admitted that she has never been able to sit through her performance. In interviews, she described the production as one of the most stressful experiences of her career. The set was filled with tension as producers desperately wanted the film to compete with the James Bond franchise. Everyone wanted it to be the next big thing, the next Bond, she recalled. The pressure trickled down to the actors, and the chaotic schedule left her drained and disconnected from the project. To her, the film represented long, grueling shoots and the frustration of being typecast as the seductive European femme fatale. "I was always seen as the glamorous blonde," she once said, "but I was so much more than that. I loved comedy, I loved drama, and I loved painting. Being trapped in that image made me feel limited." Watching Deadlier Than the Male today would bring back memories of a time when the on-screen glamour masked her private struggles. She was living out of a suitcase, constantly traveling between Europe and Hollywood, and struggling to find peace in a life that never seemed to settle. Though she acknowledges the film's importance to her career, she has said bluntly, "It gave me visibility, yes, but not joy." Sometimes success and happiness do not go hand in hand. For Elke Sommer, Deadlier Than the Male is not just a movie, it's a reminder of the pressures and restlessness of that period of her life. And so, to this day, she has chosen not to watch it. As she has said with a sense of closure, it belongs to the past, and sometimes the past is better left alone.